Hello, it's the Collaboration Kernel and welcome back to the next episode in a series of podcasts concerning digital workplace services and our attitudes, our changing attitudes, the collaboration tool sets that we use on a daily basis. Hello, and before we get started, just a quick reminder to check out the other podcasts in this series concerning managed meeting rooms and also safe social collaboration in the enterprise. These digital workplace service podcasts aren't meant to lecture, just to hopefully enlighten and to provoke a little bit of thought and conversation in the comments. There are those amongst the CEOs, CIOs and decision makers that believe that employees are far more efficient when working in an office. And then there's another percentage of the same demographic of leaders who believe employees are far more efficient when working remotely. And this is more than what most business leaders really imagined. Even the most stalwart traditional businesses now realize that a collaborative and productive workforce isn't necessarily one that sits in a conventional office. Unfortunately, technology limitations can hinder productivity and collaboration and exasperate remote workers if not carefully managed by a diligent IT department. When we think about the underlying causes of collaboration challenges that we all experience on a day-to-day basis, this may take a little bit of detective work in finding out what's the root cause of all of this. For example, consider poor call quality when using a collaboration platform like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. This issue may originate from one or more sources, not least to be the internet connection of the employee. Typically not the office employee, but the employee who's sat at home, the remote worker, whether that's on their 2 days a week of working home or whether they're fully remote, or whether there's another number of days that they work from home. Whatever those days are, they need to have meeting parity. They need to have a good experience no matter where they are, what they do. So like I say, this issue may originate from one or more sources. So we mentioned the internet connection. Typically, and being a father of young children, and children of that fortnight age, if there is such an age as fortnight, whenever there's a nice 8 or 9 gigabyte update, or whenever a new piece of software or game gets downloaded like Diablo, Elite Dangerous, things like that, gigabytes of download, this can have a negative impact on the home user's bandwidth, eating up all that pipe. Yes, you can put restrictions on a router, but the average IT user doesn't know how to do that. I would encourage people to do that and to section off a part of your broadband for a particular IP address in your home if you are a home worker and have children who enjoy downloading the latest software. Just to stay with internet connections at the moment, it could be down to your country or location's service provider. A lot of studies have shown that changing service provider can give you a better quality experience when using collaboration tools such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams. You may be a Starlink user, for example, and be too close to the shore. Or you may have a lower tariff that you're paying and therefore lower upload and download speeds. I've always operated on the premise of get the fastest speed you can possibly get. But there may be a financial aspect to play here as well. So before exploring solutions, let's consider how collaboration and communication methods have evolved over the years and take a look at the most prominent modern challenges. In the past, businesses relied on email to collaborate electronically, and before that, the written letter. How many people can remember a mail cart trundling down the corridors of a sea of cubicles in an office building and the mailman handing out the mail? I can. It's still in living memory. And then, hey, the telephone. Heaven forbid we pick one of those up these days. It's all voice over IP on a headset. There were major problems if email systems weren't working correctly. I spent many years as an Exchange designer and Exchange administrator, and all holy hell would break loose if that little icon at the bottom of the Outlook client turns to relate to the fact that there was no connection to the server. The help desk phone would ring and ring constantly because people needed that mail and needed it now. We even had those people way back when email was in its infancy in the modern corporate saying, "Hey, did you get that email I sent you?" Going back to the message that would inform you of a lost server connection, this was basically caused by any number of issues. Yes, it could have been the mail system. Unlikely, however, more than likely Active Directory. But hey, the Exchange and email administrators did get the grief for that. Fast forward to today, however, and employees are less reliant on email as a mode of communication. I do remember when talking with Microsoft, when Microsoft Teams came out and they said, "Hey, I just check my mail twice a day." And at the time I was thinking, oh my God, I'm in it all day. All I do is look at my email. Now I may check my email twice a day, once in the morning, once before I log off in the afternoon. And this reliance on email as that mode of communication has started to wither a little bit on the vine. It'll never die, and I don't think it'll die in our lifetime. There'll always be a need for email communication. But now, rather than wait for a reply or get lost in email overload, many people now rely on real-time and synchronous collaboration experiences, such as chat, peer-to-peer, voice-over IP calling, but not via a phone, via a headset, and video conferencing. Now, as these tools have evolved and people have grown more comfortable using them, workers have come to appreciate the advantages of chatting in real time. So, for example, resolving customer issues without leaving the case or conversation by linking Teams chats directly to customer service records. Great for a contact center. In fact, for many, it's the preferred form of contact because it now allows for communicating in the here and now, as opposed to the then and when. People are now much more accustomed to chatting, like they do in their social lives on social platforms such as WhatsApp or Facebook. So that method of chat, instantaneous communication, as opposed to waiting for an email to be sent here, waiting for something else to come back to you, has kind of died off. I do recall working on several customer projects where, using SharePoint, for example, people would do work on a SharePoint and not check the SharePoint back in. Now modern SharePoint deployments do have a feature to reclaim SharePoint documents that have not yet been checked in so you can work on them. Or there's the collaborative sharing within Microsoft Teams where everyone can work on a document together and bang out those documents even quicker. There was a time when email and not getting your email on time, and SLAs were put in place to have that email turnaround time within a certain amount of seconds, was a direct correlation on how good your IT department or service provider actually was. And if you did get the fatal message at the bottom of the Outlook screen or your mail client screen saying, "Hey, you're not connected to the email server," then it was down and the whole system was rubbish and you couldn't work and you couldn't be as productive as you wanted. Now, this has changed. Poor video and audio quality is now the metric, we believe, on how good your deployment of a collaborative and productive ecosystem actually is. And with all that stated, it kind of brings us back to the reliance on these systems and what it takes for organizations to keep them running optimally. So here's a few prevalent workplace collaboration challenges and their underlying causes. Now, poor video and audio quality we have mentioned. Our evolving work ethic means that the quality of your real-time collaboration platform is now becoming the de facto metric, as I've mentioned, by which your end users measure the value of your IT service. Some could attribute this to a trend in cloud-based social media technologies that offer people multiple avenues to collaborate. Again, WhatsApp, Facebook chat, Facebook posts. Not just email. Users like Facebook, Snapchat, WhatsApp often select their preferred communication channels based on the ease of use, the path of least resistance, and quality of experience, and the same criteria translates when using enterprise tools as well. It's that consumerized experience. Regardless of the workplace collaboration platform, poor video and audio quality can result from, and we've mentioned it, a poor internet connection on your side, a poor internet connection on one of the other participants in a meeting. How many times have you heard someone saying, "Can you hear me? Has Dave gone quiet? Is it me or is it Dave?" How many times have you heard that? There's also external wide area network or WAN factors that can be caused by weather and environmental outages, and also inadequate hardware such as an underpowered laptop, webcam or headset or audio device. In the early days of the pandemic, there are the reports of people suffering from a lack of cohesive contact with one another, relying solely on interactions through Microsoft Teams or Zoom meetings. Those meetings experiences often end up being more painful than what they should have been due to poor video and audio quality, or external factors, a lack of noise cancellation that we now take for granted. The frustration of enduring repeatedly poor communication experiences while in isolation contributed to the overall decline in employee mental health and wellness during this time. Who's heard of Zoom gloom? That meeting atrophy is real. But what can we do to combat it? Well, the collaboration fatigue, online collaboration fatigue, is true. That feeling of exhaustion that comes from a day of back-to-back online meetings is so common. Teams fatigue, or Zoom gloom, in the unified communications management arena. There was a study in 2021-22 by a research firm Metrigy, which approximately 44 companies reported that their employees experience video fatigue. That stress of having to get up, get dressed. And how far we've come from getting up and going into an office, trying to look our best, whereas lounging around in our pyjamas might have been acceptable when we were all stuck at home. But should it really be the look we're going for when dealing with our colleagues and customers in work? A good environment, a nice office environment, a good background, all these things help to promote a more cohesive vision of employees who work remotely. And those employees who work remotely, to be perfectly honest, I believe it's also down to the fact that if you have a nice modern managed meeting room solution, and we're not just talking about the technology, I'm talking about the furniture, the decor in the meeting room. Where's the light coming in? Are people blinded? Are the cameras picking up on the individuals? Can individuals who are speaking in the meeting rooms be heard with multi-directional microphones? Are the cameras picking up the people so everyone can be seen? Can everyone see what's being presented? For example, like Microsoft Teams front row, we get these nice kidney-shaped tables. Effectively managing collaboration and communication platforms can address the challenges of poor call quality and online collaboration fatigue. However, many organizations don't have the budget to dedicate full-time staff members to monitor these platforms and typically go out to third parties. Existing IT team members are busy with other projects and can be easily pulled away to handle the myriad of tasks necessary to manually optimize collaboration and communication platforms. Remote hybrid work does seem to be that new normal. But what is the new normal? I just think it's the way it is. We've evolved. We've moved away from that Victorian aspect of bums on seats, your manager at the bottom of the office, checking when you go for lunch, checking when you come back. It's a much more fluid experience, and I believe companies should embrace that. Even though 95% of companies, as touted by some individuals, have got people coming back into the office at least 2 to 3 days a week, I believe it's less than that. Frontline workers, for example, never actually left the office. Should they be counted in those metrics of people who have actually come back to the office or the place of work? Tools such as video conferencing and real-time communication have evolved, but come with their own challenges. And to address them, it is crucial for businesses to prioritize the employee experience by ensuring their dispersed workforces can collaborate and communicate effectively. Multiple tools exist for this. And if the metric really is call and video quality, then we should be certain that call and video quality is absolutely fantastic, whether you're in the office or whether you work at home. Thanks very much for listening to this podcast on the evolving attitudes towards collaboration tools and how important they are in regards to our daily lives and how we view our IT ecosystems. I've been the Collaboration Kernel. Check back for more podcasts about digital workplace services and collaboration technologies. I'll see you soon.